Hey there, Mike Dunn with Gamingtrend here at our booth at Origins Game Fair. And I've got a familiar face with us. This is Ammon Anderson, the designer of Gnome Hollow. Now, we have shown you Gnome Hollow before. As a matter of fact, we were one of the first people to actually introduce Gnome Hollow to the world at Gamma Expo a couple of years ago.
I think you were the very first video that ever showed anybody Gnome Hollow, other than like what I had done for like a convention.
That's right. Or for the Cardboard
or for the-
Edison.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is a special treat because we've got the final production copy here, or
Like-
a near final production copy.
No, this is
the final production.
This is the final production copy, with one exception. Like some of the pieces here, this piece here, these right here, the mushrooms, and this. These are all the deluxe upgrade kit, and like, I've already put them in my copy, so
I would have made you show us the deluxe upgrades anyway, because I'm a deluxe upgrade
like, cause
nerd.
these come standard in the game, and these come standard in the game, and those come standard in the game.
Gotcha.
But like, it was something that I was really wanting in the final version. So like, the retail version, which is the only version, these will come in punch board, and these are punch board.
Gotcha.
But right now you're seeing like the best, because I
Yes.
love these things. They're awesome.
The sexy bits.
The sexy bits.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, let's take a look at how this has changed, man. It looks so freaking good.
Thank you.
Run through the game. Let's run through the
Okay,
through the game
so
for people that haven't.
We'll go through the
haven't
game.
experienced
So
it yet.
the core of this game is that on your turn, you're going to be pulling 2 tiles from this tile market, and you're going to be placing those into a growing garden. And as these are being placed, like, so if I place this here, right, 1, 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then I could come over and I could
We're
place.
trying to connect these little fairy ring circles.
Sure, I could like turn that like that to come bringing it back around, right?
Yep.
That's half of your turn. The second half is that you're just going to place a gnome into that space. Once that gnome is placed, like, this becomes your ring and you're working on it. And the reason that, so you're really doing a couple things at the same time. Number one is you're drafting tiles based off of the mushrooms that are on the tiles. So this one right here has like purple mushrooms, right? So you want to gather as many different, as many of the same types as you can throughout the game, but there's no way that you can only gather 1 or 2 or 3 types. Like, as you're working, you're going to be needing different sizes that have different types of mushrooms on them. And so you're going to be strategically trying to get the best trades in this market. But you're also working to build specifically sized rings in that garden at the same time, because those rings are going to give you bonuses on this board here.
Right. This is your player board.
This is your player board, and so you have 3 tile ring, a 4 tile ring, a 5 tile ring, a 6, and a 7 plus. The minute you go over 7, like, you're just wasting time in the garden. You will be able to still collect the mushrooms on it, but you're not going to get a better, bigger bonus.
Right.
You could be just building more rings.
Yep.
Every time
except for the satisfaction.
Yeah, you can like
Here's
be like,
something
I've got the
right-
biggest ring.
It's like, I'm going to put a ring around the entire trunk.
It's impossible. You can't do
You
it.
can't. Aw.
Nobody would let you do it. But that's okay. So ultimately, like, these right here are going to give you strategic bonuses that let you work better and faster in this garden, collecting mushrooms and building rings better than your opponents. And so that's the strategic element of this game. But every single time that you build a ring, you're increasing your ring score by moving these down. And you'll notice my ring score is increasing. So now it's worth 6 points. The other way I can score points in this game is by collecting wildflowers. And these little wildflowers, they dock on the top of my board. And they use the same system, but it's an additive system. So if I fill it in with multiple of these, right, like, I'd have 6 points in rings and 3 points in flowers. So I have 9 points right now.
Nice.
And so the only other way you can score points is by completing these rings, collecting those mushrooms, and then taking your gnome and going to the pinwheel market to take a trade. You're going to sell those mushrooms in this market. And when you sell those mushrooms, you're going to get that value in these trinkets and tokens. So bottle caps, buttons, feathers, crystals, and skeleton keys, right? These are like
little things, little doodads that gnomes collect.
they're gnome treasures,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
the things that we probably wouldn't value, but like, who knows why they value them? But they're shiny, simple things, right? So those are also worth points. So at the end of the game, your total score is a combination of your flower score, your ring score, and your tokens and treasures, right?
Right.
Every time you do go trade, like let's say I traded 4 blue mushrooms for 5 points.
Yep. Then
That's going to be blocked, and
Right.
then no other player can make that trade. So there's an element of blocking people out
a little bit cutthroat.
and making them like have to work harder. Like, oh, you got there
Yeah.
first. Now I've got to go get more blue mushrooms. So
Yeah. I just first off, I want to note one of my favorite things about your prototype that we looked at.
Yeah.
Was the magnetic board.
Isn't that
right?
fun?
Yes. This is a first. This is a first in the industry.
I think it is. I don't know.
Double
I haven't
magnetic
seen
board. Yes. So like these stay on, which is great because I mean everybody loves the dual layer boards these days, but this is so deceptively simple, right? It's so lovely.
They're lighter. They don't warp over
Yeah.
time because of like the glue, like adhesion problems where like dual layer boards warp. They actually reduce like the freight volume.
Oh, I bet.
Right? Because they're so much lighter than dual layer cardboard. I think my favorite way to show this was, which was so cool, was Bonzinator yesterday in her thing. She goes, oh, and by the way, in this land, we have dual layer boards. And she like spun it. I don't even know how she did it. I think she did this.
Oh,
and
nice.
she's like, and they don't fall off. And it was like, that's right.
Yep. You're stealing that, aren't you?
I'm stealing it.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you,
Yes.
Bonzinator. You're the main. Thank you, Nominator. But so ultimately this is fun, and I typically like I don't tell people that they're there when I put it on the table, and they sit down to play it, and they're like, "What? What?
What? Yeah.
What?"
And then the other side, the flip side works too.
That's right. Yeah, it works on both sides.
Yeah. It didn't work that way on the prototype.
No, it didn't work on the prototype. I wasn't that smart.
Yeah.
So, what's fun about this is that there's actually this is the advanced side.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Which is much more. It's quite a bit more complicated. Like,
I know. I can't wait to give it a shot.
There's a lot more planning involved. Like
Yeah.
you're drafting very specific tiles to complete these. But oftentimes I'll reference the backside when people are learning to play, so they can see how the construction works.
That's super cool.
So that nice thing
let's
about
look
the
at-
magnets is that you can actually flip this over.
And look at it. Yeah.
And you can see that construction, but you're not actually ruining your like board.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I anticipate we're going to see a lot more magnetic boards like this in the future.
well, there's been a few people that have said like, things like well, they're magnetics. You're reducing the recyclability of the game, and I understand. And I'm from Oregon. I'm a tree hugger,
Right.
but like honestly, like it was funny because this weekend I asked like 1,000 people. I was like, hey, have you ever recycled a board game? And like,
Yeah.
I have yet to find a single person that's like, oh, I totally recycle my board games. Like they're like,
Yeah.
it's actually like this horrified like,
Yeah.
no, I would never recycle my board game. I love my board games.
Right.
Like if anything, I would like give it to like a shelter or a home, or like I would recycle it by giving it to someone so they can play it. And so, yeah.
So in a manner of speaking, Gamingtrend does recycle board games, but not in the traditional recycling sense.
yeah, right.
We donate board games
Exactly.
to charities like Extra Life, for instance.
That's awesome.
So I think that's a much better way, or even pass it on to other people, right?
Yeah,
I'd
give it to your
rather.
friend.
Why would you? I'd rather see a game get played with than recycled.
Honestly,
personally.
nobody's. I think
Yeah,
that
nobody's
this
doing
is
it.
wonderful, and every other component in this box is
No, it's fantastic. It's
like
fantastic.
incredibly well chosen. It's chosen to be accessible. It's chosen to be like good for the environment. So I got to be honest, and I'm gonna give the props to the op. Like I feel like the op just like this is a home run. Like
Yeah.
as far as like the look and the feel and how they pulled off like that vision that I had, and I'm just thrilled with it.
No, honestly, after I saw your prototype and played with it a bunch, I was really worried. I was really worried that they wouldn't do things like do the magnets, because it really added to the character of the game, or
Yeah.
they would like change things a lot. Based on what I'm seeing, everything they did is an improvement, and it doesn't take away anything that you did. It
They-
just enhances it.
They kept me as the illustrator on the game, and so I was able to work like with their team,
Yeah.
like in it, like I was like a part of the team instead of the designer, like sort of getting updates, which was really fun. But like everything you see here is my illustration. Everything. Like they did bring in like a second artist to just add some details to the box cover, but even the box cover is my initial illustration. And he just sort of worked right over the top of my illustration, and so
Fantastic.
they threw his name on there, and like he worked on this cover, which was awesome.
This looks great.
But
it looks great.
The really cool thing is that like nothing's changed here.
Yep.
Nothing has changed here in the garden other than like I illustrated 5 new mushroom types for good reason. We decided to go with things that looked a little bit more fantastic instead of
Actual poisonous mushrooms.
actual poisonous mushrooms, which I think was a great call.
Yeah.
And so I created like these really fun illustrations for.
Yeah, because these may actually be a choking hazard, but not as bad as an actual poisonous mushroom.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. So ultimately, like, one of the things that I told them when we signed the game was that I had wanted to update the flower tokens.
Right.
And
Because they were discs before.
They were discs before. And I said, wouldn't it be fun if we just put little potted plants there? And so they were like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And so that was something that I had requested going into the signing. And so I had wanted to make that change during the last year, but I was so busy showing off Gnome Hollow and negotiating that I didn't have time to develop it.
Yeah.
So I was able to develop that afterwards. And
just to give you an idea of how busy he was, this was the hot game of Gamma 2 years ago.
It was crazy.
When you were demoing it to us in the game demo room.
Yeah.
It was like media and publishers were circling like sharks. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And
it was crazy.
It was really crazy. It was awesome though. And that's why I'm so happy to see, like I've seen it on several steps along the way, and to see it like this, like I can't even imagine how chuffed you are right now.
Oh, it was like when I opened it up and I had seen all the components because I'd been the illustrator.
Yep.
And like, you know, a lot of this is my original. Like the stump is identical.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
It's the stump from the prototype. Like we simplified the boards a little bit to be just a little bit more focused on the user interface, which I was absolutely fine with, and we changed some of the iconography, and made it a little bit more clear. But for the most part, this is my game.
Yeah.
In like full fruition.
Yeah.
One of the things that's so cool is that this rulebook, I was able to work with their designer.
Yeah.
And she is absolutely just incredible. She took my original rulebook and she worked on this thing. But you'll notice like it has the same sort of layout.
Same sort of layout, yeah. And you did such a fantastic job on the rule book.
She was able
already,
to take what I had built, and she added this layer of just like love and care in the rule book. And I remember like I opened this up, and I like got emotional.
No, actually, I remember because we talked on our podcast right around the time that you just got the rule book, and you were telling me about how
Erica
amazing,
Munoz.
Erica Munoz.
She's amazing. And I just got emotional, and I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, like it's so beautiful. And it was so unexpected. Like she took the artwork from all of the flowers and everything, and she like made that the highlight of this cover, making it feel like a forest guide.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was so fun.
Yeah, field guide.
A field guide. So
fantastic. Well, Ammon, this looks great. Like, come here. Let's, dude. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see this.
Turned out great.
Yeah, like this is gonna be the big hit of Gen Con. You know that, right?
I mean, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna sell out probably day one.
I expect this to sell out for sure.
Yeah.
Like I hope that they can get more copies in, and but this has been it's a little surreal, like standing here like a year later, right? Or a little bit like
year and a
14
half
months later, right?
Yeah.
15 months later, and just like showing off this, which has been just this incredible journey. Like there was a journey going up to where we we talked and we met and you showed this off and you had no idea what was walking into your booth that day. I don't think, like, it was just like, yeah, like, come on in, let's do this thing. And like that night it like exploded.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
it's been a roller coaster ever since.
And now, like, there's this,
Yeah.
and it's on the table, and it's unbelievable. We've played it here at the convention several times, and
yeah, I lost the other night.
you did lose
horribly.
the other night.
I was horrible at it.
You was just out of
I
practice.
was feeling off. Yeah,
He was out of
yeah.
practice. It was late.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's like seeing your path to this. Like, honestly, it's why I do this.
Yeah.
Right? Because at Gamingtrend, we love to shine a light on things like it's about our passion, right? We're not making the big bucks at Gamingtrend, right?
No.
We're doing this because we're passionate about it, and your passion and our passion and just the passion that it's ignited in everybody who's seen it has just been contagious, absolutely contagious. And so I feel proud that Gamingtrend was a part of that journey for you.
Me too. Like, I love it. Like, we've actually, it was really cool over the last year. Like, we have phone calls or chats or texts.
Yep.
And like, this is happening and that's happening.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey, and I appreciate everything that you guys have done to like bring some awareness to this game. Like last year, my wife called me like partway through the thing, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, there's a video about you on like the internet." Like, because like when I told my wife like at first about what was happening, because she wasn't here, she was at home, and and I was like, "Babe, like this was crazy, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened," and like she's just like, I tend to embellish things sometimes, and like I have a little bit of fun with people, and she's like, whatever. She's like, that's like crazy. That's like, there was literally like this moment where she just was like, "There's no way, like, stop it." And then it took like my friend Brant Brinkerhoff, who I was with last year. And Brant, he made a phenomenal game called Oros.
Yep.
Tremendous game, better person, and he was with me side by side for most of last year, and so it took him being on the other end of the phone, like, "Melanie, like, this is happening, like, like
this is real,
like this actually happened." And so then the credibility really came when my wife saw the video from you, and she's blowing up my phone like, "Oh my gosh, did you see this video? Like, what?" And so thank you for everything that you have done to bring, like,
the pleasure has been all mine.
It's been so
like I feel proud and fortunate to call you a friend.
Dude, same.
Yeah. Dude.
Absolutely same. So, well,
if you're going to Gen Con, you better get this game. You better get in line quick. And you better not get in front of me, because I'm going to be one of the first ones to pick it up, because I need a copy signed by this guy.
There's some really cool stuff too that, like, if you buy it there, and I don't know if I can say it, so I'm not going to.
Okay.
But there's some cool stuff.
There's going to be some cool stuff.
But I will say this too, like, there aren't as many sets of this going to be at Gen Con as there will be games.
Okay. Yeah.
So
get there quick. Get there quick.
Right up, but yeah.
Fantastic. And when is the plan for this to hit local game stores and district channels?
I'm not sure exactly of the plan. I do think that it's going to not be terribly long after Gen Con. So I'm not sure exactly how the distribution like cycle works. Like, I don't know if they like mail them out early and they arrive and then it's like, this is the date it goes live, or if they just start shipping it on a certain date and then it takes shipping. So, but I don't think it'll be too long after Gen Con. So there's just going to be some really cool bonuses if you get it at Gen Con.
This will definitely be someone's Christmas present, several people's Christmas present this year, I imagine.
Yeah.
So that's the important thing, right?
Yeah, someone's going to open this and be thrilled, and that means the world to me.
Right. Ammon.
Pleasure.
Always. And we'll be talking to this guy in the future for sure, because he's got a lot more games coming down the pipe.
Oh yeah, they're very cool too.
Yeah.
So